Hey everyone. So in this video, we'll be analyzing the company Kfin Technologies. So we'll look at what exactly the company does and what are its expansion plans. And also we'll compare it with CAMS, which is its competitor, and look at whose valuation is better at the current levels. And also we'll talk about its previous promoters, Carvey. A lot of people have doubts on whether they still run it and things like that. So let's get started. So Kfin Technologies, it's a leading technology-driven financial service platform. So these guys in India provide services for a lot of asset managers and also corporate issuers across asset class. Okay, and these guys are not only in India, they do this thing for even the companies that are there in Malaysia, Philippines, Hong Kong, and Singapore as well. Okay, so these are not just based in India, but they are expanding it worldwide also, compared to CAMS, who are 99% in India itself. Okay, so that is the first thing about Kfin Technologies. So, what are the businesses that they provide? So, investor solutions like account setup, transactions, brokerage calculation, all those things, right? For your domestic mutual funds, pension funds, and even the wealth management system. For all of them, they provide these investor solutions as well. So, let's say there is a big AMC, Motilal Oswal, etc. I'm just taking an example. Those guys take the help of Kfin to maintain all these records and things like that, right? And then comes issuer solution. That is, let's say a company is coming out with an IPO. So who does all this back end work for them? So a company like Kfin does all that for them, and even let's say virtual voting, things like that. All that is done by Kfin. So even in the global, that is in countries that like Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, these guys are now into the mortgage services and all of that. Okay, so they are expanding into the mutual fund industry even in the foreign countries. So this is about the business services. So basically, what happens as the financialization happens in India, that is more and more people come into this thing, more and more companies get listed, right? They come out with IPO. So all of them need services, right? So this particular company is going to benefit in the long run as India goes through this financialization. Okay, so that is about the business services. Now coming to the domestic business. So as on September 30, 22, company is India's largest investor solution provider to Indian mutual funds. So these guys have calculated it based on the AMCs. So there are around 41 AMCs in India, 24 of which are handled by KFIN, and the remaining are handled by CAMS. But if you compare the total wealth, like for example, the bigger ones are with CAMS. So 70% of the total wealth is actually with CAMS, only 30% is with Kfins. Okay, so this company is servicing 301 funds of 192 asset managers. So a few managers might be running two mutual funds as well, right? So when you compare it with the Nifty 500 companies, so there 46% based on the market cap of the Nifty 500, those companies are with KFIN, right? And the 37% based on the number of clients. So let's say 37% of 500 would approximately come to, let's say, around 185 something, right? So they are with KFIN. Okay. Now coming to international presence. So as on June 30th, 22, out of 60 AMCs in Malaysia across wholesale funds, unit trusts, and private schemes, KFIN is servicing 18. So you can imagine that, okay, they are close to uh, one third, that is 33% in Malaysia, which is quite big, right? And then additionally, they have three clients in Philippines and three in Hong Kong as well as of September 30th. And in addition, they have signed two new AMCs in Malaysia, that is as on September 30th. That is, again, I think the AMC count has gone to 20 in Malaysia from 18, right? And also they have started in Singapore, one AMC in Singapore as well. So what these guys are doing is, this is an asset light company. they get huge money. So making use of that money, they are growing it. So instead of being satisfied with the growth, with the money that they are getting, these guys are growth hungry. So they are continuously trying to grow in different countries and things like that. And we'll talk about its expansion plans also. In India also, they are trying to get into different services as well. So now if you look at the business segments, investor solution, that is 78%. Issuer solutions, that is some companies coming with FPO, IPO, they're doing buyback and all of that. That accounts to 11.5%. And the global business as of now is only 6.5%. But if you go through their commentary, that has been growing at around 40% year on year. Okay, so the expansion. So what are these guys trying to do? As I've already explained, that globally they are trying to expand. But in India itself, what they have done is, so they have filed an application dated October 17, 22 with NSDL for a depository participant license. Okay, so they have put an application for that as well. In addition, right? In addition, their subsidiary Kfin Services Private Limited filed an application dated September 13 with the RBI for an account aggregator license. So even in India, they are trying to get into more and more services. Okay, so this is their expansion plans for the coming few years. That is, grow in India as well, grow in the foreign land as well. Now we'll try to compare Kfin with CAMS. So Kfin, as of today, has a market cap. So both the companies don't have any debt, hardly any debt. You can call both of them as debt-free companies. So if you look at the market cap, Kfin is half of CAMS as of today. Okay. Now coming to operating profit margin, because it's a big differentiator. If let's say CAMS is doing at a much higher OPM, then you would usually prefer CAMS. But that is not the case. Both of them have a similar operating profit margin of around 45%. Now coming to sales. If you look at sales, KFIN has sales of close to 700 crores and CAMS has close to 900 crores. So hardly 200 crores difference. But CAMS is trading at twice the valuation of KFIN's as of today. And if you look at how much cash is the company actually making, so cash from operating activities, the KFIN is making 250 crores while CAMS is making 300 crores. So even there, a 20% difference in what CAMS is making, but still it trades at twice the valuation. So overall, Kfin looks at a much better valuation. And if I add one more point, that is, I had written up quite a decent note on Twitter on how shareholding pattern matters. So in CAMS, a big chunk of it is with the retail, but whereas in Kfin, hardly less than 3% is with the retail. Okay, so Kfin has that advantage also, that hardly anything is with the retail. So what happens is whenever big guys would come in and try to buy, right, the stock price would just keep on surging, right? So this is about Kfin and CAMS. At the current moment, I would prefer Kfin over CAMS. The only issue that a lot of retail investors have at this moment is the previous promoters were Carvey, right? And there is a fraud case on them. So SEBI has actually blocked all of that. So if you go through the interviews, right? So you'll clearly understand that in 2017 itself, a private equity investor actually bought this company from Carby. So it is no longer run by Carby since 2017 itself. The scam happened in 2019, right? But Carby was still holding on to some 10-12%. The new promoter, as of today, holds close to 50%. So Carby was just holding around 10%. It did not sell the whole thing, because of which people think that Carvey is still the promoter. That is not the case. Carvey is no longer the promoter. The new promoter has come in and he has taken over the business. Right? So, no issue of SEBI ruling anything against this promoter or things like that. So, it's a pretty safe company. That is why a lot of AMCs are giving their services to this particular one, KFIN. So, as India goes through this huge uh, growth in the next 5, 10, 15 years, KFIN should also benefit from it. right? So hope this helps. Thank you.